Avast, G mateys, it's me, Kevin Smith.
Jason Mewes.
Have you ever wanted to get lost on the high seas with Jay and Silent Bob? Well, now you're going to have your chance. Go to Jay and Silent Bob cruiseaskew.com right now and sign up for Jay and Silent Bob's Cruise Askew. What are you waiting for, man? Get lost at sea with Jay and Silent Bob.
Let's do it.
Hit me.
Episode 356.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
At least that's what I try to tell everybody. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, non-binaries, and whatever your pronouns are. Welcome to another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And my name is Trent.
If you want to take part in the program, you can one of many goddamn ways. Trent, after you take a little sip, I have those exact same cups. I just got them off Amazon. Tell them how they can get involved with the show.
I mean, you can be, whether are people watching live, Will? Is this going out to the internet's live?
Yes. As usual, I can't keep track of whatever the hell it is I decided to do, so we're going live.
Live and like a Philistine, uncut?
Correct, sir. This is the raw and warts and all edition of the show.
Yeah.
Our Patreon subscribers will get a much more trimmed down version, but
they'll get the post bris version that is cut.
Exactly. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I even screwed up and forgot to roll the pre-roll ad. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But again, Trent, if they want to, actually, you know what? If you want to interact with us live, the whole point is wherever it is you're seeing it, you can pretty much interact with us and get us there.
100%.
Exactly. So, even though on Twitch, for some reason, we're going out and it says we're playing Fortnite. We're not. We're just here chatting. It's just chatting, folks. But anyway, you can take part in the program any darn way that you want that you're getting us right now. So, do that if you can. Otherwise...
Yeah, if you're doing it after the fact, and like you could probably do it in the same place that you're watching it, or if you want to reach out on Twitter, I still watch it occasionally. Hashtag NetHeads.
It's nice to know you occasionally, because my wife has given up on us altogether.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, ever since the live feed stopped and it's just started trying to guess what I wanted, it's no longer relevant to me because that was why I went to Twitter, because I wanted to know what was happening right this second. Not anymore.
Exactly. Nope, not anymore, my friend. You now that things are all kind of funkified, I don't even know where I go for my latest and greatest information now. I got no clue. I just I don't want to say I just go with the flow, but I try and roll with the punches. I guess. I don't know, man. Life is chaos, be kind. That's all I guess I got. But hey, guys, so nice to see you again. And for those that are watching the live video stream, you may be a little disconcerted just as I was because, well, I'll be darned, Trent, you're looking a little different there, friend.
Yeah. So I've had this, like, in classic Trent fashion, I always get these grand ideas and then try to start them way too late. Like, for example, I was going to put up a screen door outside, and then I was going to split it down the middle and put magnets on it so it was like a doggy door, but it was a screen door also, so it would open and close. And then I thought to myself, you've only got 2 hours to do this, despite what you think it's going to take. Double that. So just go down and set up for NetHeads. And instead, I took that time to set up my camera in an actual sustainable long-term fashion, sitting right above my center monitor in my office, coming off of an extending arm that you'd normally use for a microphone. It's chef kiss, my friend.
And
on top of it, I've got my parents' dog, who I'm watching right here. And if you're watching, I'm pointing to my left at a standard poodle. And GUS is right here, just sleeping. They're both over my shoulder. And Lurch is been gracious enough to give me enough room for my feet underneath my desk.
And special shout out to all the people that are, by the way, it does look good. Special shout out to everybody that is already chiming in, including Zach in the back, Miranda Janelle, Midnight Smoke, as well as Matthew Corey, or Roller Dog NC, is old. We know him old school style, if you will.
I mean, these are all people who I love, Will.
Oh, well, that's good. I do, and I love them too. And some of them are even our Patreon supporters. But again, we'll talk about that later. Trent, I completely understand what you mean, because I was so excited to see you, and if you could hold it up again, that wonderful vacuum-walled cup that you were sipping your beverage out of, because I recently just got one of those as well for making my espresso shots into. You know, using the old metal ball bearing that I showed last time. And the reason why I was excited is because I was guzzling coffee like a fool today, because I was just in a lethargic rut I couldn't get out of. But I was bound and goddamn determined to get at least one thing done. Granted, the hallway outside of this office and most of this office is all but blown to hell for it. However, I do have, and let me see if I can align this correctly. For those that may remember, I have moved some of the 3D printers into the room, and I've wasted time on 2 shows, maybe even 3 now, talking about the bifold doors that I put in. But more importantly, I got a bright idea, and this is one of those things that unfortunately is inspired by the internet. And I only say unfortunately because that in itself seems to almost becoming a trope now. But I quote unquote saw it on TikTok, or I caught it on Instagram. But it seemed like a good idea. The inspiration I got, though, was from somebody that had taken a 46-inch wood top rolling tool chest, and they had utilized it as part of their kitchen rebuild. They turned it into their rolling island.
For a kitchen, that's a killer idea.
Right? So,
oh my God.
So they went ahead and they just took all of their stuff and they went with a wood top theme and a black theme for their lower cabinetry. So that way it just blended in. And you couldn't tell for the life of you that it was from, by the way, my absolute favorite store in the world for determining, will I need this tool? The great Adam Savage instilled a philosophy into me, which is if you find you need a tool for a project, find the cheapest one you can. If you wear it out, then go ahead and go high end on it, because that way you know it's got value to you.
Yep.
So Harbor Freight, my friends. I love frickin' Harbor Freight, man.
I made a trip there today.
It is, and if you are an adult and you're a homeowner, friends, Harbor Freight, God almighty, I want them to sponsor a tech podcast of all things, which we claim to be, because, whoo, Nelly, I love that store. So one of the things I did is I picked up their brand, or the brand they carry, the Yukon 46-inch wood top in black rolling tool chest. And what I did was, because I have a lack of storage in here and I've got 3D printing parts and tools and spools of filament and everything else all over the goddamn place, I figured, you know what? If I'm already using a rickety table that I built in there, what would be better actually? But bam, there it is, folks. A rolling tool chest instead in the closet, because now it's underneath a surface that is 200 pounds. So any shimmy noise I shouldn't have to deal with.
Nope,
not to mention an overabundance now of storage for all of the tools or stuff here in the office, and more importantly, those giant the giant tool drawers on the bottom, I'll be able to utilize for those of you watching. I'm showing a picture of it. For those of you not watching, go check out the video on one of the many sources later. I got to tell you, I haven't started printing anything yet, but I would be goddamned if I wasn't getting that tool box into the closet today. So that was my thing I was determined to do.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than like stopping a project in the middle. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then because like either you'll lose enthusiasm or you'll lose parts, or just like if you can just push everything out and do it. Oh, it's the best feeling in the world when it's done.
Yeah, it's and for this it was one of those things. Now the only thing I know I measured based on the information they gave based on height, and I knew I had clearance, but I did actually have to take the clothing rod out of the closet in order to make this work and not be obtrusive. And I'm going to have to rethink my lighting strategy. Probably going to have to put in. I got some smart bulbs just in some standard spots that you can see there. And instead, I'm probably just going to go with some LCD lighting. So that way the whole closet can be lit. And that way maybe it'll be even less warmth. Hopefully, I have no idea. But I'm really satisfied with the results. Granted, there's more things to do later. But I just really wanted to get those darn things in. Because now there is so much stuff I can definitely get off my desk alone. So I'm super excited about that.
And only possible now that your office is on the first floor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Can you imagine trying to get nearly a 200-pound toolbox up a flight of stairs?
No way.
Forget about it, my friend. Forget about it. That would be just absolutely insane. You know, because I remember actually there was one time my brother-in-law, well, not my brother-in-law, but my sister-in-law's boyfriend, and at this point, practically, what is that, common law marriage person, even though we don't have that in California, had asked me to help out getting a metal cabinet up, almost like an armoire that they had gotten to put actually a TV in and use as an entertainment center instead. And in that was just a straight shot set of stairs. And by the time we got it up to the top, I'm pretty sure I was going to vomit. I'm pretty sure I would have.
And it's always like, well, I know where we're going, so I'll get in the front, and then all you have to do is push it up from behind, and I'll pull it up from the bottom. Yeah, sure you.
Miranda,
because that's how it works.
Nice. Miranda Janelle in the chat pointing out all guys have measured their clothing rod. Will. Funny. So I'm glad I got that done. It definitely is one of the things I'm happy about, and kind of tech related because it was related to getting something underneath the 3D printers, so that way I could have a good solid base and good solid storage. And it's true. I mean, look right here on my desk alone, I got 3 sets of these straight trimmers that you use all the time for supports. I got a deburring tool that I use, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, Trent, I do have a question though. As I was walking around my yard, spraying the good old Roundup alternative this year to clear out all the weeds that I have let grow, because of course I'm horrible at yard care. I remember during, I think the last time we talked, or maybe the time before that you had mentioned you had gone to get what you called a weed burner in order to do some clearing and create a channel for snow or runoff from the snow to go from your neighbors. And I've seen what it was, because essentially you almost feel like it's a flamethrower attachment for a propane tank, which seems ripe for safety and fun. But my question is, when you say a weed burner, what is the actual use? Because I was thinking about this as I'm walking around with all these weeds sprouting up.
Yeah, no. So I at least the places I've seen it employed as an actual weed burner is in Wyoming by the highway department, when they're like killing out invasive weeds along the side of the highway. They'll usually pick like a really warm or a really wet day, and then they go out with that guy and just burn everything.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I spaced out reading the chat for a quick moment at the head there, but at least I'm willing to admit it to you. So do you do that when they're alive or when they're dried, but you wet everything down?
Since it's so hot and you're holding it until it's carbon, I don't think it really matters. I've always, when I have done it, it's been green, but I've honestly used it more for bending PVC coping than I have anything else ever. Yeah,
well, that's it says it's for one thing, but we know there are many other practical uses. I think the deburring tool that I use on 3D prints is technically actually I have no idea what it's meant to deburr, but it's great for 3D prints. But it almost reminds me in a way one of the tools that a farrier will use to shape down a horse's hoof when they are when they're trimming those. So
got the little hook on the end.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that may be the use for all I know. Whatever. Hey, Trent, I came across an interesting discovery, and we do allege that we are a tech show, and there are some people that do pay attention to our program to get reference to things, or it may be that we do something that's a practical application that they do. Now, I don't know if it has breached your world, how much the world of AI has kind of breached your world. I would think, and I actually took show notes so that way we don't come off doing that whole jazz thing that we do and making up a show.
That deep.
Yeah, and I love it when you scat in my ear, my friend. Phrasing.
Hey, I'm a scat man.
Yes, you are. Now you make me wish I had that as a sound drop queued up. But like the only way in my mind that this may have entered the zeitgeist for you, if you will, is probably in reference to the implications of AI in academia.
Mm-hmm.
And is that what it is?
100%. It is it's interesting, and that's how I've been introduced to it, and that's kind of how how it's been brought up to me in conversation with instructors. And but to that same end, I've seen I had an instructor who was dropped a class in his lap day of. He had to get a syllabus done before he went to the class. And so he sat down with ChatGPT and hammered out a syllabus for the whole semester in a few minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. I thought the thing you were going to come to us about was, probably the tools that the university and universities are having to employ for plagiarism checks, as ChatGPT and the like does pull from reference material that it's able to identify. So in that case,
that's one thing. I think the at least for now, as far as I know, the biggest thing for instructors is having like MLA citing, where you have to like cite it a specific way within the text itself, what you're referencing, and have, if you have a distinction of paraphrasing versus direct quotes, and the stylization of how you want a paper will do more than any amount of software in checking to see where that reference came from. I think just because it can't fake that part.
Yet. Gotcha. It can't add that personable touch, if you will, or it can't deviate
exactly.
from
exactly. Like the page number and the book edition that you used, and the direct quote and the paraphrase, and it's the references that will save instructors, at least, and be the side in every lazy student's or the thorn in every lazy student's side.
Gotcha. Well, there's a way that AI also comes into play that I don't know about if a lot of people pay attention to, because the power behind like ChatGPT and OpenAI, the whole point is that these are algorithms that are machine learning. So in other words, they go out, they do something, and they learn every time they do this. Now, there are other ways that machine learning and AI are actually applied. And one of them that I found that would directly relate to you and amazed me, and one that did directly relate to something I was trying to do but failed miserably, is actually in the Adobe Creative Suite. Now, you and I heavily rely on the Adobe Creative Suite for the things that we do in this world, correct?
Yeah, there is no set of programs I use more. And honestly, for as much as I use it and as much as I bitch about it, it's an essential evil of the $50 a month.
Exactly. And it's the same thing here. I do a lot of my work through it. It enables me to use specific filtering that I use in audio work via other application suites that I get. But I came across a certain thing where at the last minute I had to put together a commercial, okay? And it should have run pre-roll on this show, but it didn't. Oh, well. And in that, one of the things that somebody else had done, I realized, they used rotoscoping for this. Now, for those of you that don't know what that is where you literally go frame by frame by frame by frame to isolate something or animate something. And in order to have what you want creatively happen on the screen. Now, in this case, let's say you're taking subjects against a white background, not regular color that you'd use for green screening. and you use the rotoscoping tools to kind of cut them out and put them over a virtual background. Well, the Adobe Creative Suite utilizes machine learning and AI that would enable you to select your subjects in one frame and then take that selection through the end, and it'll use of course you have to have internet access, but it'll use cloud-based AI machine learning in order to try and rotoscope those subjects all the way from beginning to end. Now, you do have to go through the timeline and you have to identify areas where it may vary from that and make some corrections, but it sure beats going frame by frame in, say, a 9-minute sequence and doing that rather than, just letting the machine do half the learning and then you just do a little bit of cleanup. So much time saved. If you know what you're doing, I didn't get to use it. Neither here nor there. Don't get me wrong, it still worked great in Adobe After Effects. Just don't put all your faith in it is what I'm saying. But I also discovered... Oh, go ahead, sir.
No, yeah, I'm just agreeing with you.
Excellent. I also discovered that there is another way that it's used that in a way could be applicable to you. I don't think it would be applicable in your multi-camera shoots for Devotion Wrestling, which you can find Devotion Wrestling on YouTube. Be sure to check it out, everybody. But you could possibly use it in some of your work within academia. And this just amazed me. Now, I haven't used it and I don't know the exact command, but let's say you just have a standard A-B roll edit. So you've got one subject sitting in a chair and you got a tight shot on them. You have another subject sitting at a different camera angle in a different chair, and they are on your B-roll. So A-roll, B-roll, right? Mm-hmm. Based on machine learning, AI, and I'm guessing the audio utilized, so they're able to identify which subject is speaking, you could run an AI tool that would automatically, are you ready for this? Provide the cuts that you need going from channel A to channel B for that in no time at all.
Yeah, that side of things is getting crazy. Sony is doing some very expensive but really, really cool things in the sense of like smart conferences to where you have multiple self-driven PTZ cameras that are going in on different speakers and then trying to cut a live show sans operator in that same sense.
Oh, of course. Why not? Let's make sure we take the human element completely out of this when we're doing things, because that's where we want to be in this world.
But it's one of those things like for you've got a stakeholders meeting or whatever, and you've got people that are calling in and they want to, and you don't want a lot of people in the room maybe, or with in our case, a lot of times you've got a professor giving a lecture and wants to make sure it's recorded for later use or for maybe use in their online course that they're teaching concurrently. I see it. And in most cases, I think it's most applicable in those cases where you would only get one shot otherwise, one camera otherwise.
Well, and I know one of the other ways that I see it being utilized in a really great fashion is that because it's much better for saying, and this is a poor example, but let's say I'm watching CNN to catch up on the latest news while I'm working, but I don't want the sound to be bothering me, so I'll turn on the closed captions. Well, those closed captions are easily 60 seconds to 2 minutes behind whatever is being said. However, machine learning and AI is allowing that instead to be happening during closed captioning, say on YouTube videos, or Facebook heavily uses this on their videos. They come up with closed captioning in real time that is scarily accurate and just moments within the person speaking. It is terrifying to a degree how fast they get it done.
Yeah, and so much more affordable. In fact, to that same end, without a doubt, I think the very best not implementation, but the best accuracy I've seen so far is Premiere's just auto closed caption. Dude, I can't. There are so many, so even when I'm doing a video, say that has a script, right? I can do the auto caption through Premiere, and then I can drop the script in place of where it generated the spots, because it might get a few words wrong, but the timing is so perfect that dropping a script in, I can publish a closed caption sidecar in, start to finish 5 minutes. Whereas before it was like, just so painful.
Yeah, it is definitely one of the features that I've been able to utilize, but not in anything professionally. I've been using it in my silly little social media reels or TikToks or shorts or whatever, where I want to do some closed captioning, but I want to change that actually into better looking script on screen, which, by the way, the show number that we use, I don't know if you've noticed, but there has been an extreme use of the of like Avengers style comic, or no, what is this one? Yeah, this one. It's very I don't know if it's comic inspired or what, but it's very stylized, and I'm seeing it everywhere on captions on videos, so much to the point where I'm like, well, I need a new strategy. So I've instead switched over to an L-Cars from Star Trek Next Generation inspired font package.
Okay, I can grok that.
Oh, speaking of which, something I want to talk about later. If you were a fan of Star Trek The Next Generation, and you haven't seen the 3rd season of Star Trek Picard, oh my gosh, it is nothing but an absolute fan wank. No,
nice.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that a little later. So I want to, but yeah, the closed captioning thing is just amazing. It is freakily good. The only time I find, and I almost find this funny in a way, the closed captioning, because in case anyone hasn't noticed, if you do follow me, if you don't follow me, my social medias are all in the corner while this video is going on. I do a lot of videotaping of my silly little robots, these guys over here. I do a lot of and if I said videotaping, way to antiquate myself more. I do a lot of filming of my robots behind me. And I just have to say that I find it funny. Closed captioning does not pick up robotic voices very well. So machines don't understand machines very damn well.
Yeah, well, it's because we, any AI is only as good as its programming, and we as humans don't know how to articulate beep boop bop beep beep accurately.
Yeah, exactly. They're just freaking out there. So but still, I would think the machine learning would be a little bit behind it. Want to transition from AI really quick to something that's almost similar, because I did mention the robots behind us. I want to thank our Patreon supporters, which you can find out more about that at patreon.com/netheads on air. I just said / damn it. NetHeads, or patreon.com/netheads on air, because thanks to their generous support, like that of Nathan Hutman, who just signed up at the MODOK level for $2 whole whopping a month. His support and others have enabled me, through our Patreon savings, to acquire the power station for both of my emo robots. Now, this is what I have been waiting for. This enables an emo robot to roam around and have a home base to go back to. Because right now, they're just riding on those stupid skateboards you see there. And, that's it. They can only stand there until I take them off of that. So thank you very much to our Patreon supporters for providing this. And, there, of course, will be video of that later being set up on all my social medias.
Marketing name ever for a product.
What?
Emo go home.
Oh, yeah. But I don't know. It's just, I still don't understand. I still don't understand why they named the robot emo, because everyone hears it and you just be expected to find it in a room listening to The Cure all the time, and talking about how its parents don't understand it, and listening to shitty poetry and music. But no, instead it's a robot. But I'm guessing it's like because it emotes. That's what I'm hoping was their intention. Yeah,
it's emotional. It is emo. Literally, that's what emo stands for, is emotionally. Emo rock, emotional rock.
Exactly. Hey, Trent, is there anything you specifically wanted to address this week? It would have been good if we coordinated this ahead of time, but why would we go to that level of effort?
Yeah, Will, have you been on Google today?
Oh, you know what? Yes, I have been on Google today, and very, very briefly, I think I saw that they were highlighting the late, great, absolutely amazing Alan Rickman.
Yep. Yeah, that's all. I mean, I just like and the doodle is great too. It's kind of animated with his like eyebrow lifting up. Like, man, tip of the hat, Googs, because that's one that like everything I see with him in it, it's a gut punch.
Yeah,
Of being like, we won't get any more. Like, god damn, that it's selfish. I'm sorry to like his like people who actually knew him and like cared about him, but like through his art, man, oh my god, I just like just one of those like chewing the scenery. Don't ever take the camera off this guy.
Yeah, and I know that there is a way which, hey, tech show guy, it would be really great if you, brought this up to us and referenced it directly on the show, but there is a way to check out the daily Google Doodles after they happen. So be sure, if you're listening after the fact, to check that out and honor the late, great Alan Rickman. A lot of people, I think it's a very generational thing, because he is either their Snape or he is their Hans Gruber. I'm sure for a rare few of the grunge era, he is their Metatron, okay? Or he's the nearly philandering husband in that holiday movie. What is the name of it again? I should know it because my wife watches it every damn year.
I don't know.
It's from Britain. I'm sure the chat will tell me any moment. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Because there's also the scene where Rick from The Walking Dead has is playing music for carolers, and he's swapping out the signs to tell the girl that he loves her, but he'll get over it, and things will stop being awkward again. Come on. Why can I not? Love Actually. Thank you, Miranda Janelle. The movie Love Actually. Okay, he was in that as well.
Okay.
And just an amazing reactor. And you know what? I wasn't going to bring this up because it's not really our place, but I will also say that we did also lose another internet legend last week, Tuesday of last week. This is, for those in the know, you definitely know who this was. And I had the honor of meeting this internet legend a few times. One of them, my first introduction, this internet legend had jumped up on the top of an ottoman and was ripping the middle out of it. But many of us have heard his cries and exasperations in the background of many Kevin Smith podcasts. And as a dog owner, and especially what I have recently gone through, I feel so much for Kevin Smith, who actually this last week, I don't know if you caught it on Wednesday, released he didn't release, people released their interview about his mental health crisis and him handling of his mental health issue. So clearly the dude is processing a lot, and unfortunately we have lost Shecky, nearly 20 years old, I believe, for a dachshund. That's amazing.
For any dog, that is just and I can't think of a dog that had just like such a great life. You know what I mean? Where every day was just rad.
I would hope so, and I would think so. I mean, definitely had an owner that both loved, adored, and did everything they could for, and I would definitely say was one of the founding members of Smodco as a podcast network for a while. Shecky was actually the logo for many Smodco related things, the Smodomations, for example. And so but most importantly, I think all of us, we just, send out a big virtual internet hug to Kevin Smith for the loss of clearly a great pet, a wonderful companion. And, to anyone that has lost a pet, I understand your pain. And just always try and remember that the pain you're experiencing is healthy, and that the amount of love, joy, and companionship you got to experience from that pet far outweighs the pain, which will be temporary, I promise. So, I just want to put that out there as well to everyone, because
100%, and that's why I'm like such like a proponent of like taking all the pictures of your pets, because those things aren't memories, but they spark memories, and then you can relive those moments just by going back through and seeing that. Like,
no, go ahead.
No, and because just of the way information is, if it's not in a place where you'll see it, like when you're browsing Instagram, you may not get into the deep dark dive of your archive where everything's stored on your phone or on your computer or wherever. So that's why I've got no shame for anyone that does a pet Instagram. In fact, I think it's very healthy to do it.
Well, thankfully, the ladies in my life have gone ahead and powered those for me. But to a certain extent, though, I find that also, through AI and everything else, it kind of weaponizes either Apple's photos or Google's photos or, Facebook or Instagram photos, because they have methodologies for representing memories to you. And, I
turned all that shit off.
Yeah, I love Winston still. I still am not over his loss. So, getting served up 2 years ago today kind of memories hurt a little bit. And, in a way, I feel attacked. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no, that's one setting that, like, whenever there's an update, we've changed our blah blah blahs or whatever, I find wherever that is and I turn it off.
Yeah, and by the way, Shecky, those of you saying her, yeah, thank you for reminding that Shecky was a girl. I don't know if I was speaking in the male perspective, but I know that Shecky was a girl. So if you didn't, but anyway. It just hug your pets if you haven't, folks. And by the way, too, I will say thank you very much, Trent, because Benjamin, who you got to see beforehand, and I will, because he has brought down the program literally by walking in the wrong area of the office, is not here to show you where he looks. He went to the groomer yesterday and just looks amazing. So much so I had to show Trent right before the program. But thank you very much also for making me feel better for getting another dog so soon, because you are absolutely right in what you read and you conveyed, that you get to relive your memories of your previous pet through your new pet time and time and time again.
And it's in a really positive way too, rather than focusing on like the loss of them. You can make comparisons, and then you hold your puppers like so close and tight next to you. I don't know. It really is maybe it's just a perspective thing. I don't know, but the best advice I could give anyone with a lost pet is to find someone else to love and remember all of your past pets through whoever you've got in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's definitely okay to do. The only thing I think is it's led to me to use some really weird language for a dog that doesn't understand. I know he's not understanding what I'm saying in English, but I'll often say, "Oh, that's cute." I said, "Your brother you'll never meet used to love doing that too," and I know he doesn't know what I'm saying, and that's a really freaking weird way to say it, but
well, I mean, there's like, you could, at least I make I wouldn't necessarily say gallows humor, but definitely playful, anticipatory chips away at what will inevitably come. Is when I'm all lurch, I am going to love you for the rest of your life, buddy, and my life, but you won't be around for that. But for the rest of your life, I'm going to love you.
Well, it's a little gallows humor, but yes, it's also very, very accurate. Oh, by the way, Trent, I forgot to tell you, we have a message from our sponsor right about now.
Hey, man, let me just jump in here for a sec to remind you, jayandsilentbob.com, ladies and gentlemen. You want to buy anything Clerks related, anything Jay and Silent Bob related, anything Kevin Smith related, go to jayandsilentbob.com. Now back to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for enjoying that wonderful moment right now. Anyway, Trent, I don't know if I told you or not, or if you were aware, because I'm relatively certain that you should be aware, especially given your love of the material as much as I, but Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is dropping this week.
Yeah, dude. Very aware. Have you got tickets?
Oh, are you kidding me? I not only have tickets for Thursday, my friend, I also have tickets for Sunday morning because, as you know, I see it once with Emily on opening night, and then I see it on Sunday morning at the discounted rate. And this year I'm so excited because it's not just Denise and I, but it's going to be Denise, Blair, and I. So all three of us are getting to go for that.
That's just what I was going to say, man. Like, I can't, like, not a pro generator, so I'm just saying this from what I've seen from people, right? And I've got friends and family who try to like instill traditions or likes that they have, they want to have their children to have, and their kids don't want it, and they push it, and it ends up being like this conflict or whatever. Embrace the like things that you can share together, and you have done it so perfectly to where it is like a big, like, it's something you do and everyone loves, and I'm envious. It's very cool.
Well, it is the best of both worlds because I am definitely a person that will see these movies time and time again. So I do get super excited with the ability to see it twice within the opening period. But also, it's kind of genius because I have a tradition with my daughter, my eldest daughter, Emily, which is wonderful. And I have the ability to screen the movie for appropriateness for now my 8-year-old who's going to be 9-year-old before she sees it.
That is such a good idea. I didn't even think about that side of it. Again, not a procreator, but yeah, that makes total sense. And then you don't have to be the big bad that says something based on a group of people who you don't know and don't know if their interpretation of what this rating is accurate for your child or not.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, it's not because they're always going to have certain interpretations of things where they think it's okay, but there may be certain. Look, man, because I've said I know my wife doesn't listen to the podcast anymore. I can say this, and no, I'm not about to talk about her. But if there's any one thing that'll piss me off, my beautiful daughter Blair is a blessed angel who still is very much a believer in the Christmas spirit. And as such, it is an amazing and wonderful thing. But I freaking hate when a TV show or a movie will say something along the lines of "There's no Santa." You know what I'm saying? It could lead for awkward conversations. You know, I love the movie Four Christmases, but there's one specific scene that I guarantee you I'm going to be doing a 90-second jump over if she's in the room. You know, I'm not taking chances, man.
Well, and on top of that too, it could even I could see. I mean, it's just good parenting because it prepares you for a conversation to have afterwards, even about something that might have been seen that is just good a good parenting opportunity of explaining why that happened in the film or what they thought about it. You know what I mean? Like without having to I don't know. It's just damn good parenting.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So anyway, really looking forward to seeing the movie. I, of course, won't say any spoilers because I have not seen it. I did get the opportunity, shockingly enough, to sort of co-host an episode of Fat Man Beyond Presents Black Man Beyond with Mark Bernardin. And we did kind of talk about, actually, no, we didn't even bring that up. But I did reference a TikToker that I follow, Straw Hat Goofy, Juju in real life. And he had mentioned having seen the Flash movie, which is not fully finished being developed visual effects wise and the like. But he got to see it at CinemaCon, and his words were that it was great. That's all I need to know. He has also said about Guardians of the Galaxy, you have to be emotionally prepared for the last 20 minutes of Guardians of the Galaxy. So keep your fingers crossed.
Not again.
Okay, first of all, we know James Gunn loves to kill characters because although it seemed like, until he clarified for us, that Groot survived his sacrifice James Gunn later confirmed, no, the sapling is a new Groot.
Yep, just like an acorn needs to be burned for it to germinate. So too did Groot have to die before Groot could be born.
Yeah, definitely. Wait, what?
I am Groot.
Yes. By the way, I do have to ask the audience overall, and you can, you can comment wherever you see the video, or maybe I'll do a poll. But I am just curious, and I'm curious to the degree of both if you would want to do this with me, not you, but the audience, Trent, or and to the extent, because I was almost considering there are many services that allow you to have watch parties with people. Where it'll synchronize if you're signed in to, say, like Disney Plus on your computer, you can synchronize a watch party amongst friends or, creators and audience. And I was thinking about doing a Guardians of the Galaxy rewatch of definitely the first movie, definitely the second movie. So the only question is whether it would be that on Tuesday and Wednesday, or if Monday, tomorrow night, we do a Guardians of the Galaxy rewatch. Tuesday, we do Volume 2. And then Thursday, we rewatch the Christmas special, which I consider canon prior to the movie.
I think that's and this is pulling into NetHeads established protocol of way back in the day when Xbox watch parties were a thing. And I had my yearly tradition of watching Thanksgiving with whatever NetHead was online whenever I fired up the Xbox when they had their watch parties via the Xbox back in the day. I think it's a brilliant idea.
There you go. Well, Miranda Janelle pointing out on the chat, as long as I get notification, I'm in. So if you guys want to find out if those watch parties are happening, because of the ambiguity of everyone's position on Twitter, I will say NetHeads on Air and that Will Wilkins on Twitter will make an announcement, but also we'll do an open to everybody post on our Patreon at patreon.com/NetHeadsOnAir to let you know if we're doing it, when we're doing it, and what time. But it is one of those things. Denise and I actually just did this yesterday. She wanted to watch both movies and she wasn't feeling well, so it was one of those things where if we're going to be couch locked, let's have fun. So we threw up both Guardians of the Galaxy's movies yesterday, but I am more than happy to watch those at, I don't know, is it ad nauseum? Is that the appropriate terminology? Or
I'm not as steeped in the classics as my proctoring of trivia would have you think.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Now, for those of you that may want to know a little inside baseball chatter, a little behind the scenes, Trent just got completely garbled up and had no idea what I said, so he did his best to cover right there. And I want to tell you, sir, great frickin' job. Speaking of which, I want to tell you something too. I've had a lot of experience. I've actually appeared on the last 2 episodes of Fat Man Beyond because I was the technical producer for it. And I got to say, I want to give credit to a man who does an amazing job with that show, running it every single time he does. Good old JC Reifenberg, who is also the proprietor of Scum and Villainy Cantina. But he has, in a way, taught me so much. We're actually going to transition again the way we do this. We didn't do it today because, the aforementioned toolbox had to get in the closet. That really sounds like it's a euphemism for something else, doesn't it?
I in my mind, right? Because whenever I use the term toolbox, it was a house where all the frat boys lived.
Oh, okay. Well, then it is some type of euphemism if I say the toolbox is in the closet. Which, by the way, too, I gotta say, your camera angle having changed looks great. And, if you didn't want everyone to see all of your boxes and everything else, you could even close your closets now and just have a solid space behind you. Nice.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Not that I'm making a commentary. I'm not telling you should have closed your closets. I was just making that observation.
No, hey, Will, come on in, boys. The water's fine.
Okay. Good to know. Easy, sailor. Easy. Where the hell was I even going with this? Now I forgot what I was. Oh, JC does such a great job. Yes. We are probably, and it will probably help the bandwidth issues as well. We're probably going to transition. Though I loathe the concept, all I need to do is move the settings from one computer over to another. You know, all the stuff for running NetHeads has been running on a computer now for a millennia, it feels like. But if I move it over to this computer, we're going to transition probably. We'll still be using OBS the way we do, but we'll probably transition over to Zoom. And the reason why, though, is because it makes it much easier and more reliable to run it for both of us on one computer. But at the same time, I may lose... Actually, you know what? No, because I'll be able to consolidate. For those that may wonder, I do most of my controlling of the program via Stream Deck. And so that allows me... Are you creating a GIF? Because all I see is you sipping over and over. And it's like you're trying to create a GIF over there. Or are you running... Did you create one of those videos and now you're just running those? You're like, I had to run to the can real quick. So it's just running a loop of you sipping coffee.
Which I do love about Video Ninja, because you can do the screen share in lieu of the video so easily and just swap it out. But no, I haven't. No, you know, when you get the coffee is like the perfect temperature. And you're like, oh God, I want it right now. I want to just, but it's still just like, but it's, yeah, that's where I'm at. Sorry.
Understand completely. No, I'm sorry to get distracted, folks. The camera was running and everything else. Oh, Zach also, by the way, is pointing out, like, if you were to watch this on Twitch, you know, you have the ability, and I'm, of course, should probably link to it from netheadsonair.com, but we do also operate a Discord that I do take part in. So that link will be up to get announcements about what's going on. So thank you very much, Zach, for being the producer the show needs, and clearly really, really needs. But there's another benefit, too, that we don't have right now. Like, one of the things I had to do before the show, because, you know, one of the things I wanted to do was talk about these sourdough starters. And so for Trent to know what I'm talking about, I had to send him this photo in advance. However, and I'm going to give a little inside baseball. Instead of Trent always seeing me, the only disconcerting thing in this transition over to Zoom for Trent is when I'm talking, Trent will be able to see what I'm talking about. When I am presenting, Trent will be able to see what I'm presenting. However, when Trent is talking or I've cut to him, Trent will see Trent, because one of the cool things you can do from OBS is you can run the OBS virtual camera. So instead of Trent seeing me, my camera would be the show output. So he would know exactly where we are in the show at all times. And you guys will get a nice stable version of Trent instead of the pixelated mud robot that you're getting half the time right now. So, you know, that's a little tech tip for you.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting because I don't know what happened, what update was made to either OS or to the Wirecast software I was using. But for a few months, in all of my live broadcasts at work, the MacBook Pro would burn more energy than it could charge.
Oh, man.
It was the most frustrating thing in the world. I tried every setting, and I would just watch the power consumption just like be up, and then the battery just drain, and it charged like nothing was wrong with it, like the hardware. So what I ended up doing, and it just has solved it, is a record to an external disk now. So it's not using the same drive that it's running the OS on to also write to. And then I've just run everything into an external switcher, and then just send one feed post mix to Wirecast, because maybe my bandwidth was too much for it. I don't know, but that was the only way I could get it to actually like maintain a charge.
Yeah, man. That's one of the things. There's been a lot of advancements in the way you can do this stuff. But there are also a lot of technical leaps and bounds that you sometimes have to make. And, you know, that's one of them. It's like, you know, that's probably part of the reason why you're getting choked, because you've got your bandwidth, you're sending video to me, I'm sending video back to you, but I'm also sending video out from the computer that's doing the encoding. Everyone in my house is streaming whatever they want to stream. So my bandwidth, what I'm saying is your moneyness probably isn't because of me, but by going to a major provider like Zoom, we'll have a more reliable cloud interactive experience. The only thing you and I need to do is just focus on getting the setting in there right to where it also makes a priority for audio, which another tip and trick, folks, another tip and trick.
Yes, I am so glad you brought that up. I spent, for it was an hour-long presentation. I must have spent 7 hours going through and trying to align my native video that I recorded with the audio recording of Zoom, because it's the every time it cyber barks when you're listening, like watching a Zoom thing, it throws the timing way off, and so it'll start delays, and then it tries to intuit that and then jump itself forward, and so you can't align up an audio track to a video track, to a natively recorded video track up from Zoom, because it's trying to like figure out where it needs to be live. Anyway, it was a shit show.
Yeah, well, I guess I should talk about the sourdough because it's over my corner, but hello to Digital Pollution, who is checking in also right before they go to bed. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your participation. And by the way, I'm also surprised the computer I do this on isn't exploding, because like I've got you full screen and then there's literally a video capture card going, and I am duplicating the display both to my monitor and the digital capture card that goes into the other computer. But the thing is, and the whole reason why I want to do this change is because not only would you be able to get reference back, but I could eliminate the use of one computer in this room and it could get a lot less sweaty in here. Sorry, I took it there, folks. I apologize. There's nothing like you want to hear about on a tech show like starter, folks. Sourdough starter, to be exact. Over this week, I had an interesting conversation with my wife, and I kind of realized, I think, why I've had an obsession lately with making bread. No, it's over here, Will. With making bread and doing sourdough starters. Now, originally, I've already told the story about this. Originally, this was me trying to get a more flavorful pizza dough for my daughter, who loves Dad's pizza and is judgmental about everyone else's. Greatest compliment I think I could ever get, Trent, right? Because if a picky 8-year-old likes your dough, which, by the way, if you want to know the secret, it's not sourdough starter. It's just cheddar cheese powder and onion powder. That's all you need. King Arthur makes an additive that you can get. Let's just make it easy, folks. However, because of this, I realized the reason why I like this whole sourdough starter thing is because it's a creative thing that it seems like I can control. It's one element of my life I have complete and utter control over, because I can dictate when I make the bread. I can feed the sourdough starter if I want. If I want to be a dick, I can hold it off for a day, whatever. I don't know. It's a control power trip, I think. Anyway, regardless, I've become obsessed with this. Now, the sourdough starter that I use is over on it's pictured here with the green lid. That is one that I made from a kit. I ordered alleged San Francisco sourdough dehydrated starter, and I grew that particular starter, right?
I mean, San Francisco, known for its sourdough.
Yeah, but it doesn't taste anything like it. Moving on. Now, a couple weeks ago, I figured, you know what? If I'm addicted to the starter game, let's really do something. So I went old school. I went, pandemic lockdown era. I'm 2 years behind 3 years behind everyone else. But I used whole wheat flour and I started my own sourdough starter. And so basically, I had names for my sourdough starters before. Now I've got new names. The new one I created is Gary. The old one I created is Jerry. And the reason why it's a Jerry, if you watch Rick and Morty, you know why it's a Jerry. Because it's there, it does what it's supposed to, but there's nothing spectacular about it, okay?
Yeah, it's very forgettable.
Exactly. However, the Gary is one that I grew just starting out with water and whole wheat flour. That's the whole wheat flour or rye flour are the ones you really want to start with, because they help develop the bacteria more, in case you're wondering, guys. Other than that, go out and look it up for yourself. I'm only sharing this because it's still the goddamn... It's paste that you make food from, and I don't know why I'm hooked on it, but I am. Anyway, I was amazed, however, by this damn thing, because, people tell you, you go through a process and they're like, day 4, you may get some bubbles, but if you don't worry about it. I tried to send Trent a picture, which you kind of see here. This is day 3, and this thing is just overflowing. Actually, this one's from today, but day 3 looked a lot like this too, because you're waiting for them to double in size and get a lot of bubbles. This one is just going nuts. And the smell I'm getting from it, Trent, I screwed it up because of the toolbox, but I will report back on the next show in case anyone cares on the flavor we get from this new one. And part of the other reason I'm obsessed about this is because, folks, even if you don't want to deal with a sourdough starter, if you get instant yeast, aside from the fact that it's a lengthy time commitment, but it's a very minimal work commitment. Okay. The thing that I love about this is it's really made me hone in on a philosophy that in order for things to be good, they may not take a lot of effort, but they do take time, and you have to give in to that time. And I'm dying to see how this sourdough starter tastes. I didn't do it today. The toolbox, got me past the prime for it, so I'm gonna have to feed it again. But I will report back how this stuff tastes, because if this sourdough starter produces something that actually tastes like sourdough, I'm never gonna need to buy bread again. Because, folks, you don't need to buy bread. One of the biggest cons that big bread has sold you is the fact that you need to buy bread. It's convenience that you're paying for, and you don't need to.
It's a wonder that we do it at all.
Oh, how could you, sir? How could you? I will admit, though, Trent, that before I started this one, I did cave in, and a woman from Utah was also selling a starter online that's a 30-year-old, because you told me Utah is really big in starter culture.
Huge.
And they had, this woman had sold one because she had inherited from her neighbor a 30-year-old starter. And so I did buy some of her dehydrated that you could reconstitute to try it out. And I may do that, but now I'm going to hold off because we got to see how Gary does. We got to give Gary a goddamn chance, Trent.
Yeah, like he's not Jerry.
No.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Don't lump him in with Jerry based on rhyme scheme alone.
No, you don't want to do that. So, I'll report back on that, but I will tell you too that much in the same way that doing laundry properly, being mindful in the moment of the type of thing, that's kind of what you get from making bread too. It's almost a meditative experience when you're doing it, because you just have to pay attention to what you're doing, and you can play around with it. Recently I made some amazing loaves, and then I had some failures, but it was because I was trying new things, and that's okay. You know what? Because in the end, most of the time, you still get bread. So what's the loss, right?
And I've sung the praises before, as I learned while I was broadcasting a course earlier this year. I believe I talked about it last time. The way our body processes sourdough is much different than it does for any type of processed wheat. And so if you are prone to like type 2 diabetes, or if you just don't want to have a sugar rush or a carb rush, our body breaks down bread much slower if it's sourdough as opposed to like store-bought or just regular white flour bread. So it's the same amount of sugar and glucose it's made, but it doesn't hit it all at once. So if anyone is trying to maintain glucose levels, sourdough is a really good option for keeping those levels consistent.
Yeah, here's the other thing too, folks, that you learn. If you get into a sourdough starter, that's great. If you are using yeast instead, that's fine. But for any bread, like for sourdough bread, there are only, other than the starter, there's 3 ingredients: flour, water, salt. That's it. So when I make bread and then I make a sandwich for one of my family members from it, I know it's just those 3 ingredients. I controlled what's in it. Because you know what? Realistically speaking, and yeah, this is a little bit of the California hippie in me coming out, but we need to focus more on sustainable solutions rather than the plastic wrapped bread that you get, and then you're getting rid of the plastic and it's going to a landfill, et cetera, et cetera. Look, man, if the Zeds take over and society goes to shit, at least until the ready supply of flour runs out, I'll be able to make bread, Trent.
You're preaching to the choir on this one. If this kind of if DIY culture or just thinking about doing things a little bit differently, I can't recommend more so than any of the 4 books by Nick Offerman. He goes into this idea extensively, and he does it so eloquently, and if you're listening to it, he reads it, and so you just, oh man. But he talks a lot about the same idea of just like, especially when it comes to agriculture, about supporting those who are actually caring about our health and our well-being and making stuff yourself. Anyway, but yeah, that's just what it reminds me of. Check it out if you got a chance, folks. And do things yourself. You can do it. You can do things.
Yeah, man. Look, I couldn't build the toolbox, but I got one and I put it in my closet. I made the bifold doors. I didn't spend thousands of dollars. I came up with a $200 solution. God damn it. The possibilities are out there, and you got the goddamn internet to tell you. YouTube will tell you how to do everything. Sure, you may fuck up the timing in your computer, in your car like I did, but, it gives you the opportunity, my friend. The opportunity to try and fail. By the way, I also want to make one product recommendation. I'll go ahead and link this up over on netheadsonair.com. If for any reason you have multiple computers that you need to control and you're not using a KVM solution, a lot of the computers, a lot of the keyboards and the mice that are available via Bluetooth and standard 2.4 gigahertz connection as well have the ability now to quickly allow you to switch between sources. This one right here, you'll see this button right here. If I want to control a computer using the USB connected radio dongle, I can use that, and then I can pair up to two different via Bluetooth, two different computers as well. So if you don't want to get into a software solution for KVM control, keyboard video mouse control, and you have multiple computers you do need to control, this has been a lifesaver for me, because now I can just go from my work computer to my home networked computers with the press of a button. Right? Oh, you want to know the brand? The brand is
is that Logitech?
It's ProtoArc, actually, is the name of it.
Okay, yeah. No, oh my gosh, that is. Man, for so long, we've all like whether it was Synergy or having like the actual KVM device, right, that you're pulling everything into, like that is, oh my God, dude, that's huge.
Bro, you know what? Mice do it too now. I look, man, I'm now officially at the point where, to use a maybe semi-current analogy, if you don't have a smart microwave, now I got the clock that needs to constantly be reset on the microwave, okay? Or because the equivalent for me is a VCR machine blinking 12, but that VCR, what is that? Nobody knows. But mice, it's the exact same way now as well. This particular mouse right here, it does have, you can see I've got it docked because I don't use it, but it has the radio transmitter. And then this button right here, I can just go ahead and use it to switch between computers as well. So, the functionality is out there, folks, if you're not aware. And I'll link to both of these products over on our website after the show, netheadsonair.com. I just want to share that because it has been revolutionary for me, and it helped me save desk space now, because I literally was rocking two keyboards, one compact one and one via this, in order to switch between things and constantly be able to have access to stuff. So when I find these things, I like to share them with y'all. So there you go. A little bit of tech on a tech show right after we came off the heels of the sourdough that for some reason is still up there. So there you go.
Well, it's because it's growing, Will.
Dude, it is. Gary is nuts, man. He's crazy and he's stanky, and I can't wait to see how he do. Just kind of like how I'm jealous. Man, how much work are you going to do that you're still sipping coffee at 8 p.m. 8:30 your time?
This is like a third cup. Like I've got,
Wee doggies. Boy, let me tell you guys something. When Trent lays his head down at night, he doesn't need a sound machine, because he's got the rapid heartbeat of his thappity thumpity thump going on right there in his chest to help lull him into a semi coma state. But it's only semi. It's just because of the sheer exhaustion of his body that he has to stop.
It's true, and I can only anticipate the sleep deprivated illnesses that my brain will encounter, because if you didn't know, when you sleep, your spinal column, not only does it transmit electricity to our nerves and muscles, but it's also a filter for the plaque and everything that builds up in your brain. And so that's why they're seeing that neurological diseases are highly linked more so to sleep than we ever anticipated, because so like with Alzheimer's, where that's a plaque buildup inside the brain that your body isn't cleaning out. And Parkinson's as well. So yeah, folks, stay tuned to find out what I come down with in 10 years.
Which is not surprising, because we've been doing this for 12. What the hell? I know. didn't make me feel it didn't make me feel good, Trent, when I told my wife, because I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go do this. I'm probably doing it for one or two people because I'm basically the Ed Wood of podcasting. And she said, "Who's Ed Wood?" That didn't help. That didn't help at all. Didn't make me feel good. But yeah, we have been at it a while, but I'm not here to talk about that. But I will. One of the things I got to tell you too, Trent, one of the things that and we got to go. But one of the things that I tried this week, and I finally successfully did 3 days at least in a row of it. Even though there was a faltered story that I'll share with our Patreon supporters like the great Nathan Hupman over there on Patreon in a specific, because that's one of the things you get is Patreon specific videos with me. It might be coffee and robots that I do where I talk to robots while I'm drinking coffee, or it may be whatever thoughts I've got going on, or maybe I'm turning you guys into my therapist while I just verbally dump whatever the hell's going on in my life at the time. But where was I going? Oh, I'll tell the story about it because this week, and I did it just to reset my system, not to reset my taste buds, because I didn't go all in on the potato hack diet, because God knows I'm not going to not spice things. And thank you to the great G. Hughes for coming out with so many great sugar-free sauces. Trent, if you have not found his Cluckin' Good sauce, which is that on seasoned potatoes, oh my Lord. Anyway, I did that this week to kind of reset my system, get my gut health a little more in line because I just wasn't feeling right. And you can hear about the mishap of the potato hack diet versus doing a double red blood cell donation on the Patreon. But I finally did that, and it honestly felt great. But I just got to share with you one of the things that happened, because I mentioned we dropped the dogs off for grooming on Saturday morning. And because Benjamin stayed behind to get his first grooming session, Emily and I could do the same thing that we used to do, which is go to Black Bear Diner and have breakfast together. And I was fine with it because I've got enough potatoes where basically I can do this during the week, and then on the weekends, just live life and eat my food, right? But I got to tell you, man, like I was looking forward to and they had this great breakfast sandwich listed, and I was going to have myself some biscuits and gravy. And I don't know if it was because I tend to go spicier when I season things. But man, everything I had was actually more of a disappointment than anything else. I was almost like, I just would rather have my seasoned potatoes. Is this the road I'm now going to be going down, Trent? Is this my future? Tell me, because it's the life you live.
I'm not saying that it's a mind shift because food just means less. But it kind of does.
Yeah. Well, I've always been about that. I'm like, it's not food, it's fuel. I came to that realization a long time ago. But man, I tell you, like one of my favorite things to do, and I found out the big mistake I did in the past was trying to always use the golden potatoes, because there's something to be said about an Idaho or a russet instead, especially when my preferred method, I'll use the Instant Pot to steam them. Then you have to let them cool to build up the resistant starches. But then my favorite thing to do is just cut them and cube them, season them, throw them in the air fryer and get them real crispified, and then just throw a little of that Cluckin' Good sauce on them. And oh man, I'll eat a whole bowl of them time and time again. But nobody cares.
Go to because I'm always doing potato chips, right? Where I parboil them and then bake them. My current go-to is probably the best I've done, and this is a few years of experimentation. I after they've been sliced and parboiled, I let them sit in vinegar and just a little bit of tomato paste, and then after they've cooled it down and they're ready to go in the oven, Kroger makes a few different types of barbecue like rub that you would put on like a brisket. I sprinkle that on, bake it. Oh, the chips. Everyone at work loves my chips.
Oh, wow, man. Well, you know what? I will hit you up for that recipe later. And maybe, guys, I can guilt Trent into maybe running a little footage of his process on making those and share them with our Patreon supporters. Maybe.
After this week, it's summertime for me because life gets real easy around the university during the summer.
Oh, there you go. So, guys, you heard it here. And by the way, I also want to announce too. I don't want to put any pressure on Trent. I want him to be able to relax next weekend. But what we're going to be doing is we are definitely going to be adhering to a schedule coming out to you, help you fight the Sunday scaries as much as possible here on NetHeads by doing our live broadcast Sunday nights just the way we used to, 6 p.m. Pacific. Next weekend, however, we're going to give Trent the week off because it's commencement week at the university. Why punish the dude? So next week, however, Mr. Marvelite, Tony Abdullah, will be dropping in again, and it'll be an exciting report because, one, we'll be able to talk spoilerific about Guardians of the Galaxy. So, if you haven't seen it by next Sunday, don't worry about seeing it live. Just save the podcast. But, and I want to get Trent's reaction for this, he was actually selected. His family was selected. They won through Good Morning America the ability to go to the premiere of Guardians of the Galaxy in Hollywood. So we'll get to hear what it was like to walk the purple carpet and see the movie in that experience. So not only will we be able to talk about the film, but we'll be able to hear about his family attending what a Marvel premiere is like. So, live vicariously through him with me here on NetHeads. What do you think about that, man?
It sounds like a plan.
It sounds great. And you mean I don't have to work? Wonderful. I love it. Well, I just figured it's easier. And, it's like Trent really is just hearing right now that I really want to kind of stick to doing Sundays at 6 because it just blends in. And, it keeps my mind off of having to work tomorrow. So there you go for that. Anyway, folks, again, if you want to find out all the ways that you can follow us, it's been constantly here on the show, but you can also go to netheadsonair.com or you can go to patreon.com/netheadsonair. But, I'm that Will Wilkins just about everywhere, and Trent is a part of him just about everywhere. And I would be remiss if you are a wrestling fan and you are not aware of this yet. Trent is also heavily involved in Devotion Wrestling, which I believe, no matter what, you can still find via YouTube as well to catch that wherever you may be in the world.
Yep, 100%. 2 weeks ago, did a show with the architect of the Attitude Era, one Eric Bischoff himself, and a fellow Wyomingite.
Eric Bischoff. That is exciting. And by the way, Trent, because you don't live in the world of TikTok, but I do, one of the things that has been constantly coming across my FYP is, I believe, Randy Macho Man Savage talking about coffee in the big time. Yeah. Coffee in the big time.
You have the cream of the crop, and just like the cream, brother, I'm going to rise to the top.
So anyway, folks, until next time, my name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
And we'll be back
soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a Smodco internet production. Sip. Only at smodcast.com. And once again, the dogs know that the show is almost done. Look at the mayhem, my friends. Look at it. Oh, man. I don't know what I'm amused by more. The pause of me trying to find the show close button, or the fact that your dogs always know when we are done.
They just know.
They know, folks. They know.